my life before my initial amputation, which leads me to chronic pain, was quite normal. Just growing up in a normal family, playing sport, getting a licence, doing that sort of thing, running around, chasing girls, working. So it's quite a normal life.
I'd had an ongoing sore throat, so I was just taking Butaminthols, Strepsils, all of those type of things, and I actually get really caught up in my work because it's such an integral part of everyone's identity, mine included. So I love it. So for me to take time and go and see a GP was just time that I really didn't want to set aside until the point came that it was, well, it's actually impacting on my life.
I didn't have an accident or an injury per se. It just came. One night I went to go to sleep and I just couldn't sleep at all. The pain was phenomenal, just laying straight on my sides anywhere, and just walking was just incredible the next day. It was so painful.
When I first started getting migraines around my 20s, I noticed it was basically through air conditioning that gave me my headaches. Stale air, hot air conditioned air was what basically gave me my migraines, and they were sinus migraines. So that's why I like being outdoors more than inside.
It was back pain when I was younger, very strong back pain, and then as it pinched my spinal column, I'd started to creep down my legs, and it hasn't gone away.
I think I was going to my first day of work for the dole, funnily enough, and I was literally on my bike for less than 2 or 3 minutes, and a car door opened in my path and I ended up in hospital. The door sort of embedded into my, what's that called, my shin, and left a really massive sort of indent. It was the weirdest. I didn't actually spill a drop of blood, which was kind of odd. But yeah, so I ended up in hospital. Luckily, the person who opened their door took me to hospital. And yeah, I sort of was released a few hours later on crutches, sort of dosed up to the eyeballs on painkillers and sort of sent on my merry way. But about probably, I knew probably a few weeks afterwards, once it was still really swollen and really huge indent was still there and all that, you know, this was going to take a lot longer than I thought.
When they first started, it just felt like a headache that suddenly got out of control. You know, you thought you could deal with a headache, and I have a Aspro at the time, and just a bit of a sort of slow down a bit. But the symptoms started becoming worse, where you'd feel like somebody's driving a nail into your head, which was more specific for me to knowing that I had a migraine. And if you felt that straight away, I could sometimes get onto it, but more often than not, once I felt that, it was too late. I just basically had to find somewhere that was quiet and dark and just ride it out.
What I tried to do, I think, was pretend it wasn't happening and keep going until that was no longer practical. And then I started visiting people like old chiropractors, so on, people like that, to try and put my back in spot so that I could walk. I could walk, but do it without pain.
I went to a doctor who was really responsive and listened to me, and I told her that I'd really tried myself to help myself, and so she put me on some medication at first and said that if it didn't work that she would send me off to a specialist, which I did.
I was found to have cancer in my tonsil. That was the primary, and secondaries in my neck and throat. and after the surgery was given the all clear, so that was a good thing, and just was told that I was going to have to learn to live with a somewhat different way of life that I had formerly known, and was about to commence cancer treatment, and an almighty tumour protruded out of my neck that was assessed as being a stage 5 low grade, so stage 5 high grade you don't live, which my oncologist had said that had prepared me for the treatment, because that all had to get changed, and had said to me, you need to prepare not that you won't live. It'll be very unusual. I haven't seen anybody with that grade of cancer survive. Given your age, what do you want to do? I said, well, let's go for it.
The diagnosis is osteosarcoma, which was a bone cancer. From what I'm led to believe was quite rare for my age, because it's actually a children's disease. I was in the midst of summer training for football, hopefully leading to... We did get a call up for Essendon, some of us guys, and I didn't actually get to make it because this is what happened. But I first noticed a lump on the knee while I was surfing, and actually fell and cut it, and it actually didn't heal. So it took quite a long time to get back to full fitness, and I thought I did while in summer training for football. But then I noticed a rapid decrease in muscle mass in the leg. So I shit, better do something about it. So I went to a local doctor, and he was quite quick to act on getting an X-ray, doing an ultrasound, and within the space of 2 weeks, back in those days, I'm talking 30 years ago, I had my left leg amputated. And ever since then, chronic pain set in and all that sort of thing. So and here I am today.